Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of The Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys joining me for today's video. And we're going to be giving tips and advice today on how to read water. And actually, what I mean by this is how to read the potential of an area before you even fish it. Because once you get good at it, and once you practice it, and once you've had some years of sort of honing the skill, you can pretty much look at an area and you can judge the potential that area has, whether it be not much, sort of medium or high potential area. So we're going to get into some stuff today and sort of give you guys some good little seminar and tutorial on how to learn how to do this. So thank you guys are going to enjoy today's video. Also, guys, a couple quick things before we get started. Just want to remind everybody, you've heard me talking about it, but Tackle Warehouse has got that big spring fishing sale going on right now. If you guys want to get some baits, it's a really good time to do it. I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description. If you click on and use that link, it's a good way to support the fishing teacher here. And also, please hit that subscribe button, man. We're really trying to get to 20,000 subscribers, just a couple thousand short now, and really appreciate your help on that. Okay, guys, reading water, it's one of those things that takes a long time. It's sort of one of those things I talk about in bass fishing that's an art form that is not accomplished by technology. Now, if you utilize modern technology in bass fishing, your skills in being able to read water atrophies, because when you're live scoping or you're using your electronics, you're not reading the water. You're reading whatever that unit is telling you is under the water, which is not the same thing. But one of the true artistic forms of skills in bass fishing, and you hear this a lot of times, like from the old timers, is being able to instinctually, intuitively read the potential of an area. So I sort of want to talk about that a little bit today, about what to look for on it. Now, one of the things about it is, like, looking back at my own career, I probably could have done pretty close to the same success that I've had in my tournament fishing career. And I've won, around $2 million fishing bass tournaments with no electronics at all. If I'm fishing the bank and I want to know how deep it is, I could just drop my lure to the bottom and I could tell basically how deep it is. That's all I need to know. But beyond that, it's my ability to read the potential of that water in the area that I'm fishing. Now, here's some things that you have to remember with that. One of the things about bass fishing, it's like bass need some type of cover. They prefer to be around some type of cover. They don't have to have it, but it makes them a lot more secure. And when you're fishing around cover, it's easier to catch the bass, because bass tend to set up on cover or targets, whether it be like a boat dock or a lay down tree or a grass bed. And they use that not only to, escape and have a little bit of protection, but more than not, it's an ambush point for those fish to capture prey that comes by them. That's why they like to be around targets. Now, those targets could be a drop off, it could be a rock pile, it could be stump in the water, a log, or whatever. So when you're trying to read the potential of an area, one of the first things you have to do is look at the obvious cover that you have there. Try to determine, the diversity of that cover, and the more cover that you have and how that cover is positioned on the lake and positioned relatively to different water depths, it determines a lot about how many bass can use a particular area. Because let's say, for example, if you pull up on a stretch of bank on the lake and you got a lot of boat docks, maybe there's 30 boat docks on this stretch of bank, there's a tremendous amount of cover there for those fish in those boat docks. So the potential and being able to read that potential of that area, it automatically says, look, yeah, there could be a group of fish or a population of fish living around these docks. Or the same if you have like a big lily pad field or a grass line or a riprap bank with a lot of rock cover on it. That is one of the first and most obvious things that you need to look at. Most of the time, by reading water, if you look at some place that doesn't have much cover on it, there's probably not going to be large groups of fish that actually live there all the time. Now, they can use it situationally. Let's say, for example, you've got a nice rocky bank that maybe doesn't have big rocks, but it's got gravelly, just a sort of an average looking bank with no cover on it. Now, that bank can still hold fish, but it's going to be dependent upon the weather conditions, because in a situation like that, like a low light condition and maybe some clouds and some wind, is going to help, allow those fish to use that particular area that doesn't have much cover on it just temporarily with those conditions. But if you get a typical day with it sunny and not much wind, those fish don't capitalize on that. So the potential of that particular area is not near as good as an area that has, you know, the right type of weather or the right type of cover on it. Okay, now second to that, the other potential to read on an area is water clarity and water temperature. Water clarity dictates so much in bass fishing, and it's tied into water temperature. It's like when you talk in terms of water clarity, you can't really have that discussion without having the correlation of the water temperature with that particular water clarity. So when you're looking to read a potential of an area, let's say, for example, you've got a nice rocky bank or riprap bank, and the water is dirty. Say the water visibility is 12 inches and the water's cold. Say the water's in the upper 40s. You can read that situation, and you can look at the water temperature, and you can look at the clarity, and you can determine that that's probably not going to be a good area simply because of the, you know, the water clarity and the water temperature. Adversely on that is you get that same situation and you've got, say, 3 foot of visibility and you've got water temperatures of 55 degrees. You can look at that and you can determine by reading those conditions that, yeah, this is pretty high percentage. It's like, got a nice rocky bank here, water's in the mid 50s, it's got the right type of clarity, there's probably some fish using it here. So all these factors combined, you know, determine your ability to read water. One of the things about this also is like every single lake is unique to itself. If you're fishing a lake in Florida, it's completely different than like fishing the Ozark lakes where I live at. It's like if you're fishing in Florida, your ability to read water may be based upon the diversity of vegetation or the different types of vegetation or the amount of vegetation in correlation with the water temperature and water depth. And, you know, if you're in my part of the country out there, you've got other variables to consider. So every single situation is unique to its own. Ultimately, how this takes place, it's like the only way that you can determine if you've read their water correctly is by catching fish on a repeated, consistent basis year after year. And getting these reproducible results season after season after season is what builds your confidence in reading water. And reading water, like I said, it's something that it takes a long time. It's not some type of the instant gratification, quick fix type thing, but it is extremely gratifying, guys. When you get to the point where you can read the potential of an area even before you fish it, you sort of made it. You sort of arrived as an angler, and the satisfaction that comes with that, knowing that you put the time into it and you studied it and you become a student of the conditions and the fish, that's worth more than I can even tell you with that. So anyway, guys, it's a lifelong process. I mean, you never get to the point where you're an absolute master at it, but you will get to the point where more often than not, you can eliminate water or you can establish water. Now, that doesn't mean the fish are going to be there. It's like you can read an area and you can say, this is absolutely perfect. Everything is set up just right for it. But there may be some other variable that is thrown in there that doesn't equate to the potential that area has. So say, for example, you have this bank that's perfect. It's got a lot of diversity of cover. It's got docks. It's got the right water clarity. It's got the right water temperature. If for some reason, like the bait fish aren't there, for whatever reason, the fish aren't going to get there. If some reason that maybe this area gets a lot of fishing pressure, you know, it may not be that good. So those are other factors to consider. Bait fish presence, fishing pressure, amount of, you know, just activity on the lake, that can also determine your ability to read water too. So anyway, guys, that's just a few thoughts off the top of my head there. I think it'll help you if you utilize some of that. So we'll check later.